Los Angeles. It's the city of big dreams and large opportunities on the West Coast. Throughout history, it has been a place with culture, style, and dreams. Minority groups across the United States are represented in LA's livelihood. However, even today, the heavy chains of oppression and discrimination still plague the city, no matter how forward LA claims to be. Lost in this crazy, slowly reforming city, the hidden gems of women's minority groups roar their protests through their organizations, histories, and monuments. These places give life to LA and its unique history of being one of the most socioeconomically diverse cities in the US. Let's take a tour of some of the most iconic places for women of color and other minority groups throughout this history. An influential person in the African American LGBTQ community was Jewel Thias Williams. She created Catch One. Located on the border of Koreatown in the Arlington Heights neighborhood, Catch One is one of LA's top nightclubs, featuring a wide-ranging lineup of electronic, hip-hop, indie, dance, metal, and rock music. Catch One was originally known as Jewel's Catch One in honor of her name. Opened in 1973, Jewel's was the first exclusively gay and lesbian disco for African Americans in the country. During the club's 40-year heyday, owner Jewel Thias Williams welcomed everyone from Rick James and Madonna to the queen of disco herself, Sylvester. To honor her contributions to the LGBTQ community, Thias Williams was named the Grand Marshal of the 2016 LA Pride Parade and Festival in West Hollywood.
A mural stands on the wall of a public housing building in Ramona Gardens. Several murals paint this neighborhood. By the mural, Art Heals was painted by local artists Joseph Montalvo, Raul Gonzalez, and Ricardo Estrada, and other community members in honor of the mothers, grandmothers, sisters, wives, and daughters of Ramona Gardens back in 2008. This community is predominantly Latin American and has struggled with poverty and subsequently gang violence, and the mural was meant to help bring strength and possibility to the foundational women there. The focus of the mural is Toyernia, a woman who helped orchestrate a revolt against the Mission San Gabriel, which was established close to the banks of the Rio Hondo near the southern edge of the San Gabriel Valley in September 1771 by the Spaniards. She was a medicine woman in the Kumivit people, known today as the Gabrielino or Tongva. She was claimed to have contributed to the rebellion of the Kumivit people, who were forcefully baptized and restricted from practicing their culture in an enactment of settler colonialism and oppression. Whether or not she truly did participate is unknown, but her story was dramatized by Thomas Workman Temple II, a genealogist who wrote a paper on the story in the 50s, and Toyernia has become the symbol of Gabrielino resistance to the missions and an icon of California Indian women's resistance to colonial oppression because of it. Though the mural does little to help this community in need, the presence of a strong woman of color is never a negative thing.
Biddy Mason Memorial Park is dedicated to Bridget Biddy Mason, a former slave who became a noted philanthropist and a founding member of the First American Methodist Episcopal Church. Mason won her freedom in 1856 and settled in Los Angeles to work as a midwife. 10 years later, she bought a house where she operated an orphanage and eventually founded the first AME church on land she had purchased, and then donated that to the church. The park features a timeline that traces her remarkable life. She also became the wealthiest Black woman in the West throughout her time.
In the West Adams community of Los Angeles stands the Wolfandel Clubhouse. This was originally known as the Percy H. Clark Residence and was purchased in August of 1948 to become the official location for the Wolfandel Club meetings. The clubhouse was started by two women, Mrs. Fannie Williams and Mrs. Della Williams, as a response to the racial discrimination present in 1945. The purpose of the clubhouse was to provide a venue for people of color to gather for celebratory events and monumental milestones, such as weddings and graduations, because people of color were not allowed to use public or private gathering places. These women assembled a group of 50 like-minded friends and immediately launched fundraising activities. As they grew in the clubhouse, farewell parties were held for African American young men who went off to war, or for sons and daughters that left home to attend universities. They also held their sons and daughters' weddings, baby showers, and birthday parties at the Wilfandel. In addition, through the Wilfandel, artists, authors, and musicians received exposure and recognition for their special talents. Today, the Wilfandel members remain a group of highly dedicated African American women who pledge to work for the betterment of society in areas of culture, education, and general well-being. They maintain the clubhouse and provide a location for cultural, educational, and social activities within the West Adams community. People still use the clubhouse today to hold important life events, such as weddings. The club also awards the Fannie Williams Scholarship, which is to help African American students pursue and attend college. In November 2020, the Wilfandel Club will be celebrating its 75th year of service to the community, making it the oldest African American women's club in LA. This club represents 75 years of the fight to live a normal, happy life from the African American community, which was led by a group of strong women. The clubhouse stands today as a beacon of strength, exactly what the Wilfandel women intended it for it to be, and continues to serve and push the African American community to be the best it can be.